Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It is Monday night, which means one thing and one thing only. It is time for the live call-in show, our favorite time of the week. And Neil, as always, has joined me for this one, mate. How are you doing today?
I'm good, but how are you, Loxy? Because I don't want to sort of give it away here, but Lox has done what we in the business call doing a ragsy. What's that? That's when your stream is supposed to start at a certain time, and you might turn up, let's say, 15 to 20 seconds late. Because I've completely put my boss here on the up to get shot for that. But I'm otherwise all right. How are you, Lox?
Yeah, I'm very good, mate. Thank you. I wish I had a really good excuse for turning up 10 seconds late. But the excuse is I was on my Xbox, so oh well.
That's a good one.
Right. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. So, if anybody is new around here, this is the call-in show, and this is how it works. There is a link in the description. It is also in the chat. Well, it's about to be in the chat, and it is also on my Twitter. If you do follow me on Twitter, this is what it looks like. If you want to come and have your say on literally anything and everything Leicester City, click that link. So I don't even think it needs you to sign in anymore. Put your name down and come and have your say. Get your topic or your question or whatever it is you want to talk about ready for when we add you, and then we will talk all about it. So let's see who's here. Kunal's here. Hello to you, mate. Clemo, as always, hello to you. And of course, LCFC Grey forever. Evening, guys. Chelsea will shredders. I'm sure Chelsea will come up in conversation. There's already 20 people watching. So please, again, one last time, there is the link. So hit that link if you want to come and have your say. And there we go. Clemo, I'm surprised you're not lined up already. Our first guest today, and this is a first because he's never first. He is never first. So this is a first, him being first. It is Mr. Ross. Hello, Ross.
Lads, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Dare I ask what that photo is on your green screen?
It'll be us every at the minute. It's hacking by. That's basically us every week.
Yes,
So.
Ross, mate. There is a lot to talk about. So, what would you like to talk about? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, the question is, I mean, obviously, on Saturday, obviously, it's the return of Enzo, and it's the return of Dewsbury Hall if he plays. But it's such a coincidence that he's not played at all this season, and miraculously he's going to start. But who am I to tell? And then the return of two other people we're not going to mention because they don't deserve a mention. But yeah, I mean, obviously.
Who?
Well, I'm not saying it. Refuse to say
Chilwell
the
and Fofana.
Oh God, you're swearing, Alex. Come on.
Chilwell won't be there, will he? He'll be at home.
Yeah, true. He's still processing the fact that he thought he scored against us in the cup final.
Yeah.
No. Obviously, Enzo. Do you know what? Right, Enzo's looking at that. Obviously, after a display against Manchester United, and he's going to be thinking, it's a huge game for them, as his words when we played Leeds United that time. Do you know what? And obviously, we've heard the news about Fatu and Ayew potentially injured as well. And obviously, Vardy's potentially injured as well. Buonanotte suspended. So
yeah, but Ross, it's not all doom and gloom because Daka might be back, mate.
Listen, well, if that's the case, stick Danny Ward up front. Bloody hell. You might as well. But no. Do you know what? Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
See, Ross, I can't remember what show it was.
Yeah.
You were either on the show, it was either last Monday, or you were in the comments of my show.
Go on.
Being nice and friendly. And later that night, I went on to watch a stream back. I can't remember whose stream it was. It was either Ants or it might have been Leicester Fan TV, one of the two. And I saw you in the comments shading anyone who suggested Steve Cooper should be gone. So what's going on there, mate?
Right. It depends when you watch that show. Right.
Oh, yeah. I watched it the next day.
Right, no, it depends. No, what I mean is when, about a month ago or when, Pence?
No. It was literally not long after you said you were on the fence and you were maybe swaying towards out. And then literally you were in the comments of somewhere saying, I can't believe people are saying Cooper out. What's going on, Ross?
What's going on? Well, I was saying, as I watched some of your show back earlier with Jack in it, Final Whistle, he was saying about on the fence, and when he first came in, I was saying, you have to be a believer to start with. You got to. Yeah. What's that? Ross the shameless. Oh, a bit rude.
Well, Ross, I know. I agree though. You have to believe at some point. I
did.
For about 30 minutes.
I even made a video about it. So the moment he goes, I'm going to stitch it straight away and go, well, I don't believe now. But do you know what? I think on Saturday, obviously, not one Leicester fan is expecting us to steamroll Chelsea or win 3-0, 4-0. I just want us to have a good performance. That's all we're asking for. Because let's be honest, Chelsea are going to steamroll us. Let's be honest, right?
Ross, do you think we'll see a good performance?
That's like asking, am I having salad right now? Absolutely not. And basically,
talking of salad, let me tell you a story, Enel.
Oh,
right.
no.
Back in the Leicester Fan TV days, Ross used to rock up eating whatever he could find. It was either a packet of crisps or chips or whatever, right? And this one time, Enel, he joined the stream and he went, I'm eating a salad, right? Anyway, Phil said, show us your salad then. Ross pans the camera at his plate, and no word of a lie, it's a bowl of cheese and mayonnaise. I swear. And he called that a salad.
I can tell you exactly what it was because Jack decided to stitch it as one of his videos.
What was it?
Ham, lettuce, cheese, coleslaw.
No.
Oh, no, I know. I had no lettuce at this point because I ran out.
Yeah, there was no greenery, mate. There was nothing green on that plate.
And then Ross, salad cream.
Right, Ross, back to the football because people will turn off. I want to ask you one thing, Ross. What chances do you give us of getting a result versus Chelsea this weekend?
There's more chance of Danny Ward winning Ballon d'Or of the year than I was winning Chelsea.
Ballon d'Or of the year? Ballon d'Or,
whatever it's called, Balloon d'Or, John Stones Paint Trophy, doesn't matter. All right. So I think listen. If we get a draw, or get some result, I'll be buzzing. I think any Leicester fan would be buzzing. But I'd rather lose 3-0 and actually put in a decent performance than lose 1-0 and play pathetic. And if you remember, cast your minds back to when we played Arsenal that last time, not this season, in the Premier League. We lost 1-0. I think it was Trossard that scored, or Gabriel. I think it was Gabriel. We were horrendous, and it literally felt like a 7-0 defeat, but it was only 1-0. It was pathetic. So,
do you think they're going to toy with us, Ross? You think Enzo's going to toy with us and be like, and then Kieran Dewsbury scores from 30 yards out to just put us out of pain. You know what I mean?
You know what? Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I'm always optimistic. I always am. But you know what? If we somehow even score, you've got more chance of winning Euro Millions, Ross, than getting us a draw. Than us getting a draw. Yeah, I suppose so.
Anil, hold on, Ross. Anil, what do you think to what Ross is saying here, mate? What he said so far? What are you thinking?
It's hard to be positive, isn't it? If you look at how many injuries we've got, the form that we're in, a manager that will be licking his lips, looking at the way that we played. He's all about finding his solutions. He's got too many to choose from. That's the only thing we can hope. There's so many ways to beat Leicester. He gets confused and tells them to do 3 different things, and they do none of them.
Ross, end it on this. Score prediction, please, for Chelsea, mate.
Right. My head is saying 3-0 Chelsea. But my heart is saying 2-1 last minute Vestergaard header. Or as he calls himself, Vestergaard. Vestergaard says his own name wrong. Well,
he doesn't. He says it right, I think, mate. I think he says it right.
Brilliant. So, yeah, 2-1 Leicester. Let's be positive. But if we don't have a good performance, if it's pathetic, then my head is going to basically say Cooper needs to go. If we don't put in a good performance. I'll make that clear to people that are watching. I don't expect us to win, but I want us to have a decent performance. That's all.
Well, you're going to be saying Cooper out then, because we are not going to have a decent performance against them, mate. Right. Ross, don't go too far because we're getting Ragsy on next. But after Ragsy, your arch nemesis Foxer will be on. The one who you called. What did you? Well, you called. I think you called him a numpty last week, and then he came and called you a happy clapper or something like that. So don't go anywhere, mate. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon, mate. Cheers, Ross. Thanks for kicking in, mate. As always, much appreciated. Right, always chaos. Always
pure
chaos.
cinema.
Ross. Yeah, absolutely. Right, next up is Ragsy. Here we go. Hello, mate. How you doing?
How we doing? Honestly, some inexcusable tardiness there, Locks. Absolutely. At least I had an excuse. Like whenever I've like sort of stumbled in.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Hang on.
No. You've never got an excuse.
That was it. You were just on the Xbox. Honestly, I got here at 5 to 7. I was just there, bang on. Even before the graphics were up. Yeah. So it was madness. I was like, even had time to go for a piss and stuff. But yeah, anyways.
What do you want to talk about, mate?
Just kind of following on from what Ross said with the return of Enzo. And what I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you think Enzo's reception will be, and what should it be, in your opinion? I'll leave it with you.
Go on, and I'll let you take this one, mate.
I think the funny thing is, at the King Power, they tend to be pretty respectful. Like even Maddison, Tielemans earlier this season, they weren't really given the booing that maybe they would deserve. So I think they'll generally be respectful of Enzo. I'd be interested to see what he's done though, because a lot of us are thinking that he's going to turn up and he's going to really want to like stir the kettle, really like, put us to the sword and be like, look, you idiots, this is what you could have had, but you let me down. So we'll see. But what I think will happen is, as the match goes on, there will be some boos and stuff and people will try and take the mick. But let's see. I don't really think it will last too long. What do you think, guys?
I think the majority will give him a good reception. It was a bit like the whole Maddison stuff. Do you remember, by the way? Do you remember that at the start of the season, before the ball was even kicked, there was that whole debate on social media about, oh, should we clap James? Should we clap him? Should we give him a round of applause as he comes out? And I was like, why is this even a discussion? Like, just why even talk about it? And I've seen it this week as well about Enzo. Will he get a good reception? And I don't really care too much. I think he probably will get a good reception. Obviously, there will be some that will boo, but yeah, I'm more focused on how heavy the defeat is. That's what I'm more focused on. How bad is it going to get? That is genuinely. Yeah. And to be fair, mate, I was wrong on this occasion, so I might be wrong again. That was my concern before the Spurs game as well. The first game of the season, I was like, oh god, we're going to get smacked here. And it ended in a draw. We did get like smacked all game.
We probably should have got smacked in that one though. Really,
we should have, mate. We really should have. But yeah, Ragsy, what do you think then, mate? Do you think he will get a good reception?
Like with Maddison and Tielemans, I think it's kind of mixed. So I'm kind of anticipating that from the start of the game. I think as the game goes on, then it will just all be forgotten, and so you're just focusing on the game when it comes to it. What I think it should be is kind of a pointer, and I think it will be very telling towards the board if the fans and it is a majority, that they're vocal for Enzo and there's positivity, and they thank him and appreciate what he did last season, because it shows to him, first of all, that the fans are on his side in regards to how little he was backed when it came to last season, how he was completely left in the dark, and how he still managed to steer us to first place and into automatic promotion, and it was a difficult job at the time, and it was a job that we could have had far worse options that I don't believe we would have been first place with, especially with what happened in the season when we lost. We had a real lack in our midfield depth. So I think it would be telling to the board if it's and I think it'd be nice, but I don't think it will happen once the game gets into flow. I think it's different when it's players, when they're actively on the pitch. But if it's a manager on the sidelines, there might be the odd chance here and there, but nothing really too vocal when it comes to it. For the Chelsea game, though,
hold on. Yes, Costa, call in anybody in the chat.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
do fancy
absolutely.
talking Leicester City, sorry to steal Ragsy's channel name there, Talk Leicester City.
That's good.
Just honestly, just hit this link. Come and have your say. Go on, Ragsy, carry on, mate.
No, all good. But yeah, just following up from what Ross said, it's just I think he's like I think people sort of use the term happy clappers and stuff. I'll try and be kind. So I'll try and I'm not in a ranting mood like I was last week and stuff like that. So it's just I don't really blame him because it's just he's practically saying like he doesn't really believe in the manager. He's practically saying we're shit under him without actually saying it. I think it's just some sort of blind faith and just backing for the sake of backing. And I think just people really need to sort of tune out as to like where their sort of loyalties should lie. You know, it's acting like, oh, okay, you need to be behind the manager in order to be behind the club. That's not true. Yeah, like whatever your support is, it should be behind the club no matter what. That should be paramount over everything else, over any player, manager, staff member, board member, whatever. So I mean, people are just like, they're not really sort of having a lot of faith. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't really surprised that he hasn't been sacked yet over this international break, just for the sake of our board, I mentioned last week. And I just don't really think, nothing's really going to happen until we hit the relegation zone. So when it comes to this weekend, I'm expecting like, okay, we might make it a bit tight, but I'm not really, you know, I just don't really have a lot of hope. It could end up being like the Arsenal game where we just Chelsea kind of just teasing us and trying to figure out what they need to do, and we'll give them all time of the day just to be able to figure out how they go and open us, and then that'll be that. As soon as they get one goal, that's it.
Well, something you mentioned there, Ragsy, that I found quite interesting. You said about Ross. You were talking about Ross, and you said, "Oh, well, he's kind of saying we're shit under Cooper, and we're probably better off without him," but he's not actually saying it. So, no, I want to ask you: do you think maybe some people are still maybe a bit like they just don't want to backtrack yet, and they kind of do see that we're not heading in the right direction, but they, I don't know, maybe they just don't want to say it to out of fear of looking like they're backtracking? Or do you genuinely just think some people are just more tolerable, some people are just okay with where we are and they just don't really, they're not, there's no need to panic yet?
I'm not a psychologist, so it's hard for me to sort of say it, but you know, it's one of these things that in life you very rarely get something where 100% of people agree on something. And then you get things like some people, even though they've said something and it sounds retarded, they're going to stick to that opinion because they said it in the first place, right? You don't want to admit you're wrong. Then you also get the thing that like if everyone's saying Cooper out, you can be the hipster by going, no, Cooper in. I'm you know, on the rare off chance that somehow it works out, you'll look like a genius. So I think you get some people like that. There will always be some people. I think to be fair, I would say the more sort of realistic stroke modest take is I think there's just some people who in general are like, you know, they would rather give people time and only get rid when like it's really sort of untenable. Some people are like that. Whereas I think, you know, the younger guns are more like, well, it's opportunity cost. That's what they're seeing. It's not just the fact that like he's not doing well, but it's like it's what we could be throwing away if we had someone better. And they're worried about, you know, basically we were worried about what happened with Brendan. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I think you're never going to get like fully 100% until, I don't know, you lose. I'll ask you something. You'd say when Brendan Rodgers lost, do you remember we lost 6 games in a row under Brendan Rodgers in the Premier League? But was everyone calling for his head at that point? I'm pretty sure there were still some people that were behind him.
I think it was weird with him because like it was pretty much, I'd say, an equal divide. Like you look in even the weigh-ins and stuff, and it was like there were a few that were vocal, but then you saw like blue on blue in the stands, which was kind of horrible to see. And it was just back and forth, and it was like, no, what you doing?
Blue on blue's a yearly occurrence.
But like that was bad though. That was like just constant every single like away game and stuff. It was like, and you're just getting thrashed, and you're sort of taking the sentimental side out of it, and you're just looking at the football and going, look at this trajectory. Like we're going to be heading down if we keep carrying on like this. And it's clearly he's not finding any sort of solutions to turn it around. But then it will go back to, oh, but he's done it once before. And, you know, he's clearly like managed at the higher level. So he should be able to have it in him to do it again. which, yeah, but, you see it by results, not by, on just sort of sentimental value and what you think of him. So it was just weird. And it was that sort of clash and stuff. I think it's different mindsets when it comes to it. And, but I think if you're going to be honest, I think it's sort of leaning to the board's mindset is sort of leaning to those that are a bit more lenient and will want to give like manager time and stuff just to sort of implement his ideas, and having a bit too much faith. There's nothing wrong with it, because like, especially with like, it's only comes to a point where, you're dealing with adversity and you've got to find the solutions for it. And you can't just be like, well, if you're not seeing it in action by now, then when are you going to see it? So it's like, you need a balance in between. And like, it's not, it's still not ideal having to sack Cooper at this stage, and especially after we've backed him as well. So it's a difficult decision that you got to make, but you weigh it all up. And I still am on the side that, we do need to sort of like be a bit ruthless here. So
Ragsy, I can't wait to see the turtleneck come back out, mate. I think we've got some time before that happens, though. Maybe under the next manager. Ragsy, end it on this score prediction for Chelsea.
I don't even know.
Come on.
It's just like, it's so weird, because when I have like, it was like with a Bournemouth game at home, like I had no hope and we went and beat them. And like Chelsea, I think they are still a very young side, so they do have inconsistencies in there. But I just think the way that we are, especially if there's no Jamie, there's like, I don't see it. I think it'll be like, maybe it won't be embarrassing, but probably like a 2-0 Chelsea, I reckon. Just kind of flat and not really doing anything, kind of like how the second half of United went. I don't think it would just be that sort of approach in the majority of the game. So yeah, 2-0 Chelsea.
Sorry, mate. My laptop just froze. All right. Well, Magsy, thank you, mate. Thank you so much for jumping on. As always, much appreciated. See you Wednesday, because on Wednesday we do have Fox's Den, and it is all about how Leicester City stay up in the Premier League this season. And I will say, I have seen Ragsy's suggested team, and I will say it is a stinker. No, I'm joking. We'll wait and see. We'll see. Cheers, Ragsy.
You'll hear my reasons when it comes to it, but yeah,
mate, I can assure you mine is a stinker. So there we go.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers, Ragsy. Thank you so much. Up next is Foxer, then it's Costa. Right? Does that rhyme? Kind of. Foxer, Costa. Not really. Here is Foxer. Hello, hi mate. How you doing? I hear you've got some words for Ross.
Yeah, so I have a few points to make. We'll start with the Ross situation. So obviously, with all due respect to Ross, obviously nothing personal. I don't know him that much. I'm just talking about his opinions. Yeah, I think him as a fan sort of epitomizes the demise of Leicester City as a club, because when you look at it, you have a board of directors, and their job is to please stakeholders of the club or the fans. And if your fans accept absolute dross level standards, why would they have any reason to be ambitious or change anything that's going in a decline? Because if your fans don't have standards, why would the board need to change anything? They can be happy just withering away in the Championship, or being bottom table of the Premier League. That the fans set the standards of the club. You look at any top club in Europe, Real Madrid. Everyone knows Real Madrid. They boo their own players. They boo the manager. They have standards, yeah.
Is that right, though, mate? Should we be booing players even when they're winning? Imagine we were winning.
I'll explain
winning
my
leagues,
point about Real
leagues.
Madrid. Wait, we might, from our perspective, we might, Real Madrid fans are entitled or whatever. But why do you think they've won 15 Champions Leagues? Because their fans don't accept anything but perfect. So the point being, going back to Ross, yeah, that the more the fans dictate how the board acts. So if fans accept low-level standards, the board has no reason to improve the standards, because they can carry on doing what they're doing, and the fans will just lap it all up.
I would agree with you with majority of boards, but I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that this board isn't very isn't very influenced by the fans, if I'm honest. I mean, the Rodgers thing, I heard, I think it was Ross or Ragsy, somebody said 50-50 split with Rodgers. No, I don't think it was 50-50 at all. I think it was the majority. I don't know about you, Fox. I think it was the majority of Leicester fans did want Rodgers gone earlier than he was. You look at the really, really poor decisions off the pitch that have been made by the football club recently. I mean, you talk about the season ticket prices, the physical ticket, all the delays of safe standing, all of this. There's so many to mention. A lot of backlash from Leicester City fans, from advisory boards, from the fan boards, all of this, and it doesn't change. So I don't think this board, rightly or wrongly, is that influenced by. Because even the Ranieri sacking, that was a smaller percentage. That was a smaller percentage that wanted him gone. There weren't many at all that said sack Ranieri. But guess what? They sacked him. I don't think the board are influenced. Before I come back to you, Foxer and Neil, do you think this board are influenced by fans?
No, they're definitely not. I think it's for a different reason, though. Actually, I was going to suggest, Locks, that we make a video on this one day, which is sort of like, why has the atmosphere or the culture around Leicester City changed? And there's many factors, but it's not just Leicester. It's across the whole football pyramid, to be honest with you. And that is that basically football's been priced up. So now when you go to the grounds, what do you reckon is the average age of a fan in the King Power these days? I don't know, but honestly, I reckon it could be above 40. That's my honest feeling.
I'd say 40.
Yeah, right. And so if that's the case, then what you're going to get is you're basically going to get people that are generally speaking less angry and less passionate, right? Can spend more money. And then that's one of the reasons why you get like this lack of atmosphere, but also like a lack of sort of impassioned sort of people. Because, for example, if it was like average age was 25 and we'd put in some of the performances that we had, they'd be baying for blood. And then maybe the board would react, right? Because you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want it like, the emperor's going to get toppled because of like, a revolution going to happen. So I don't think they are going to be too bothered about it.
Yeah.
That said, the one thing I am surprised about is that ultimately the reason why you want to be in a Premier League is it's such a moneymaker. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? The worth of it is incredible. And therefore you need to protect your investment. And that is what did surprise me the last time that they didn't sack Rodgers faster, because it's just like, are you idiots? If you go down, it's going to cost you hundreds of millions. Whereas it'll only cost you 10 million if you change the manager. And yet they seem to be making the same mistake. Now, what is the reason for that? I couldn't really say. But they don't really care what the fans do. They'll care about something else. But what is weird is that, like, and so that's why, unfortunately, they might be like, well, until it's like mathematically looking like we can't do it, that they'll keep him.
Yeah, so I would like to make a distinction between obviously the fans who go every game or tend to be older, but whereas if you take the average fan age on Twitter, that's probably a better representation of what we're talking about. So what we see is sort of a bubble. So we have to remember that there's 32,000 people. Most of them are generally going to be older. They're not going to be as passionate as we are. They're probably just going for the weekend with the family or whatever have you. They don't necessarily would have the same passion that we have about the club. So my point to Locks is, imagine you had, obviously Anna made the point that if you had an passionate fan base full of people like the people who come on these calls in the stadium, I think things would change. But it's obviously, I'm not trying to say that okay, so fans is the reason is why we're here, but it does play a big part. And I think a lot of fans still think that this is the same Leicester City from before 2016, and that's one of the major issues as well. That ties into this issue, because since then the standards have changed, but the standards in certain fans' heads have not. They still think that, oh yeah, we should be around the likes of Southampton or whatever have you. But in actuality, where were we in the last decade? We were challenging for Europe every season, in and out. And as I said in the last streams, not getting top four was seen as a failure just recently. So it's like one relegation has made fans forget everything. And
that is something I do agree with you massively on, mate. I think the reason they get the name Happy Clappers is because they honestly act like they are just happy to for the football club to just, well, exist, just be in the Premier League. And that is fine, by the way, right? It is fine because some people are more motivated, they're happy with different things to we are, and that is absolutely fine. However, if you do have a large number of fans who are just happy to be fighting for relegation, who are just happy to have Steve Cooper as their manager, who are happy to just have, I don't know, what's it called? Bloody Luke Thomas as our backup left back. I don't know. You could say anything, right? Having an academy product there rather than an international, whatever. Some people are happy with that. But if you have a large number of people who are like that, then like you said, something I do agree with you on is that I suppose the board could get the idea that maybe how things are is okay. In this case, I don't think it is that. I think the board know that we're not happy. Why they're not changing it? Yeah, why they're not changing it, as Anil said, I honestly have no idea either. Is it just because of the short term financially? Are they just thinking, well, yes, we'll have to sack Cooper and pay him out? What they should think again this year, like the Rodgers season, like Anil mentioned, they should think again the same this year. Well, if we don't sack him, then we're going to be paying out. We're going to lose this.
Ragsy made a good point the other day when I was speaking with him. He actually made a very concise point. He said that, so let's say Rudkin and Whelan brought Cooper in for the job. Now, if they go to Top and say, okay, after 10, 11 games, hey, you need to get rid of him, Top's going to be thinking, wait, I put you guys in charge of getting the best man for the job, and it's been 11 games, and you want him out? And then he's going to question their competence. So they might think it looks bad on them. So it's in their best interest for Cooper to say as long as he can, so it shows that they made a good appointment.
I really hope that isn't the case, though, because I
hope that isn't. I hope that isn't.
Down to egos. Could it be down to egos, Anil? Could it be down to egos?
It could be, but that would be bad culture. Like I was going to say, I run my own company, and I actually have encouraged my team that if something like that happens, it's the worst of two evils.
I know
not to admit that you've made a mistake.
Yeah.
I would actually look on it the other. In fact, I will tell you this right now. That's something that I look at even in my own team. I would say that the good people, right? They don't have the pride in that. They'll come to me and they'll be like, I'm sorry, because I muck up all the time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But they come to you and they say, look, I'm really sorry. I know we tried this, but it hasn't worked out. And these are the reasons why. And this is how I think we should fix it. That's great because everyone's going to make mistakes. The worst thing is to just be like, no, nothing's happening here. Nothing to see here. You, sir, are an ostrich, to quote a certain Leicester City manager, right? That's the worst thing you can do. So I really hope that isn't the case. But unfortunately, Fox, so you're implying that it could be, and so is Logs. And the problem is you're probably right.
And historically speaking, we don't have much to give them props for, obviously. Like you don't want to think the worst, but with this board, you have to always think that they're actually not as competent as what we think they should be, or ideally should be.
Yeah, mate, I agree. Let's just look at a couple of comments, and then we'll get Costa on. Foxer, Paul says the board at the time choose to keep a guy whose name was Peter Shilton. I'm not sure. I did see another comment about
Banks versus Peter Shilton thing. That's a long time ago, though.
Yeah, way before my time. We have wealthy owners. It's not always been the same. Top's lost interest. Notint says the happy clappers that think we should be grateful. Last thing on this, Anil, I'll come to you first, then Foxer. Like, it is possible to be grateful and also demand that
obviously
it's possible for you to be grateful, but also for expectations to change. Because let's be honest, this is what Foxer. This is why it is difficult to be a football manager, a football owner, because you are, that your own success then leads to obviously a change in expectations, and if you don't consistently meet them expectations, then you get fans on your back.
Anil made a good point. I assume he runs a business, so football is a business. When you have a business, as your business grows, your expectations change, your KPIs change, the whole institution transitions. So when you look at it in that aspect, standards will change. But if people can't do the job that they should be doing, they shouldn't be here. And the point you made about being grateful. So Rodgers won us the FA Cup. We're grateful for that. But sorry, mate, if you're failing in 2022, you get binned. That's simple as that. It shouldn't be. Why should we have sentiment to people who are getting paid a salary to do a job? They come here to win. You come here to win. If you can't win, leave. Like it's a very simple logic. And
yeah, I mean, I've just had a private message from somebody who just said, "You will not." Somebody's just seen another video of someone said, "I'm going to boo Enzo. I'm going to boo Enzo." This is the last question. One word answer, please, Foxer. Would you boo or would you cheer Enzo Maresca?
Mate, I'd cheer Enzo Maresca just to put egg on the faces of our board.
Yeah, one of them where we sing Enzo Maresca. Enzo.
Mate, I
Maresca.
still feel more connected to Enzo than Cooper, and Enzo's not even our manager. I feel still in my heart, I feel like Maresca's our manager. That's how weird this season has been.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. Right, thanks, Foxer, mate. I do appreciate you jumping on, mate. Hopefully, see you next Monday. All right,
you guys.
Right, up next. This is one of my favorite guests because do you remember the time he came on? He was like, was it? I'm sure it was Costa who said he was shy. He did say he was shy, didn't he? And then he came out and smashed it. And then the week after, when you weren't here, Anil, he put his camera on and he smashed that. So I don't know what he could do on top of that. What? Give us a little dance or something. Costa, no, I'm only joking. Let's get him on. How you doing, pal?
How's it? You all right, guys? How's it going?
Oh, I was hoping you'd do a little boogie there, to be honest, but.
No, to be honest, I wasn't even going to call in because I don't feel well, but here I am.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Man flu.
Oh, get well soon. That's it's really horrible to get that this time of year.
Yeah,
question for you guys. I've always wondered, where are you ringing from?
Who?
Well, Locks, where are you right now? Anil, where are you right now?
I am in Leicester, mate. I'm in Leicester.
I'm in North London, but I'll be honest with you, I was sort of alluding to it before. The price has gone up is, to be honest with you, one reason why I started doing fan channels, because I realized that it's too expensive to see, because it's not just the cost of the ticket at the ground, it's the train ticket up. It's so expensive. Say during the title winning year, I could go every game pretty much. It was not that expensive. So I loved it. I could get from my house up to the stadium in probably 1 hour. But these days, it's like, well, especially, do you want to go up there and then see yourself get smashed with Steve Cooper playing? It's like, no, I think I'll just make a fan channel.
But then you've got that journey miserably back, ain't you? Yeah, I used to be in the city, very close to the old Filbert Street ground, and now I'm in South Lincolnshire. So just making it fair, I'll tell you where I am too.
Lovely stuff, mate. Lovely stuff.
Let's speak football, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm deflated completely. I'm disappointed with Top and Woodkin for not sacking Cooper. It's simple as that. Where do we go from here? Who knows? I absolutely dread the next game. It's going to be very painful. What is Maresca going to be like? Because a few of our fans didn't even like him when he was doing well. It's too critical. So is he going to come back and say, right, I'm going to beat your record against Southampton and absolutely thumpers? Is that going to do a favour for us and get rid of Cooper? To be honest, I hope we get harsh fans. I know the last caller in was saying we all should. Somewhat way. I don't agree with what he was saying, but I feel we need to unite as fans to wake up the board. I feel so strong on this about Cooper just not being able, full stop. Look, Locks, I sent a letter to the board. You've seen it. I sent a letter saying, please sack that twat. Not in those words, though. And and I don't know. You never know. I thought, wonder how many people have done that, but we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I see us in the bottom three very soon.
Yeah. How soon, mate? Because I mean, let me bring up the fixture. So of course we all know. Why is it giving me Man City fixtures when it literally says Leicester fixtures? So we all know we've got Chelsea this weekend. Now we do obviously have a really tough run in, but following the Chelsea game, we do have Brentford away, and West Ham at home. Now, I'm not saying they're easy games. We know no game in the Premier League is easy, but that's probably our last chance to pick up some solid points before bloody Christmas. I mean, Costa, how soon do you think it will be before we do drop into the bottom three? Because obviously the table, we're on 10 points. Everton are in 16th on 10 points. Ipswich in 17th on 8 points, and then Palace make up the bottom three on 7. So we're only 3 points off.
Eek. And the fact that you're saying maybe it's our last chance to get points says it all.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. Look, I'm happy to eat, blue humble pie and be completely wrong and be surprised. But there's zero inspiration from this manager. Zero trust in him as well. Oh, the blue tinted glasses are out. So what I put in the comments one of your last shows about Lineker taking over from Rutkin. What do you reckon?
Hey,
Well, you
he's
laugh.
available. Hey, it depends. Which Lineker?
No, the obvious one, Gary Lineker. That used to, do you know what? He was my first idol, and you can't forget him. He was such a humble young man when I was a kid. It's awesome person, but a lot of people for some reason don't like him. Even Leicester fans. I don't understand why. So, Anil, let's talk tactics. I think it's pointless now, as we are trying to play Enzo way. It's visible that they're not capable because the players are trying to do it, but Enzo's not there. And now with the loss of Ricky, I think you just got to forget about that, mate. And what do you think?
Yeah, I have to say I'm a bit worried as to what's coming up because, basically, what's interesting is that I think a lot of people think that Enzo plays the same system at Chelsea that he played with us, but actually that is not true. That is not true. He made some changes because he's a good manager. So what he recognized that Enzo Fernandez, he costs a lot of money, but he's not very good at getting box to box. Like he hasn't got the stamina. So when they attack forwards, they actually only attack forward with 4 and they keep 6 at the back, whereas he used to do 5 and 5 of us. Anyway, where am I going with this? One of the teams earlier in the season that tried to take the game to Chelsea was Wolves, and that game ended up 6-2 to Chelsea, where they got absolutely battered, even though they only attacked with 4. So you're right. I think if he plays that system and he plays James Justin at that position, then Pedro Neto for Chelsea, who's started to hit form, is going to have a field day and they'll absolutely demolish us. So I know what Ross was saying when he was having this pasta earlier. They didn't want us to have like a sort of what's the point in turning up sort of performance. But if I'm being honest, I think we probably do have to go that way and just try and make it like a really sort of turgid game. Because I think if we try and attack a team like this, who is so good on transition, we're going to get buried. So what do I expect? I'm going to go with what Ragsy said. I think it's going to be 2-0 Chelsea. I think it'll be easy for them. And I actually think Enzo won't stir the pot. I think he will have a bit of respect. But tactically, it's like, I don't know, Darth Vader against a child. And the child is not Luke Skywalker. It's just literally a child. That's what's happening here. A PE teacher versus a master.
Literally. This like I said, it's zero inspiration. I've said this also on here before about playing wing backs. The reason why I say it is because I just feel that we wanted Vestergaard to play, and he hasn't got the pace. We also wanted the midfield to have enough in there so we don't get ran around. The only way is with either a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 system where the wingers, the wing backs, are young and very athletic because they have to take nearly 2 jobs on, even though they've got a little bit more cover than, let's say, when Justin is always exposed, he's completely on his own. It won't be as bad because you've got 3 central defenders and 3 midfielders, but they will have to be very energetic to try and attack, to try and defend, to try and be up and down that line. But in doing that, if I remember correctly, and I've seen this done before, I thought Cooper were going to start with this, Well, when he first came, I thought he were going to start.
Oh no! What the timing of that? No, he's gone. He's gone. Costa, if you can hear us, your internet just cut out. I was looking forward to hearing what you had to say there, Costa.
I tell you what, Costa, tune in for Fox's Den, because we're going to talk about what you're talking about, which is some people that are going down the wing backs suggestion, aren't they?
Costa, I very, very much recommend you tune into Fox's Den at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, as Anil just said, because we are all putting together, all four of us, myself, Anil, Josh, and Ragsy, we've put together a tactic or a team that we think is the best chance of keeping us up this season. So it's going to be interesting because there will be I know there's definitely going to be one stinker, and it is mine, right? You'll not believe
Have you
what
just
I've
drawn
gone
a
with.
bus at the back?
No, but it is pretty bad. Mine is, but anyway, we'll see. So Costa, thanks, mate, for joining. So, yeah, shame that you cut out there at the end, but next time, mate, we will see you on. Clibbo has waited patiently, and he is up next. Everybody waiting in the background, just to let everybody know in the background, it is Clibbo next, then it's Charles, and then it's Daz. So don't go anywhere. Clibbo, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all right. Sorry, I was a bit late. I was sleeping. Been a long few days.
Well, guess what, mate? Your nephew ain't here, so you've beaten him. You've beaten him.
Yeah, he's got the arse about something. I don't know what. Well, I want to talk about something that's not actually on the pitch related directly. I was down at Plymouth Argyle football ground at the weekend, working down there, and the buzz around there that Wayne Rooney is their manager is quite incredible, actually. Even though he's not got the best record, but their profile has suddenly shot up. It's not just Plymouth Argyle; it's Plymouth Argyle with Wayne Rooney in charge, and I think. Anil runs his own business. And one of the key things about running a business, I think you'll agree, is the branding. Over the last, say, 10 years, our branding has grown, which has made the club successful on the pitch. Do you think, or does anyone out there think, that having Steve Cooper in charge is increasing our branding? Because what you're going to see is kids in Leicester wearing Manchester City shirts and Chelsea shirts again instead of Leicester shirts. And I think that's the damage that's being done.
Clibbo, did you not hear about the deal we did with Lords of the Rings because of the orcs?
He's a bog troll to me, mate. Bog troll.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm falling.
You're bang on the money though, because my girlfriend, her nephew, obviously, as he was Leicester won the league maybe when he was like about 4 or 5 years old. So obviously Leicester shirts, Leicester scarves. And in the last couple of years, still being a young lad, he's now going more towards Manchester United. And I'm like, no. But what I will say is you are right. And this is why, and Anil disagrees with me on this, this is why I would do anything to see Mr. Mourinho in charge of Leicester City. You talk about Plymouth Argyle with Wayne Rooney, who's a shit manager, but the profile has boosted their brand, their reputation. I don't care if people think Jose Mourinho is a has-been. I think he would do wonders at Leicester City just as having that name, the name Jose. But I will hand over to Anil because he disagrees massively with this. But go on.
20 years ago, definitely not now. I think he's yesterday's man. I mean, look in Turkey, he's struggling even with Fenerbahce, and they've backed him with a load of money. So I think he didn't really do too well with Spurs, Roma, or now Fenerbahce. So it's the sort of thing I could see. Actually, you know what's funny though with the branding? I do agree with you, Clibbo. Like actually, when King Power first came in, they were really big on that. That's why they got Sven-Göran Eriksson. That was, if you think about it, that was a pretty bonkers move. Getting the ex-England manager to manage a team in the Championship. That's crazy, right? They were really going for it. They wanted to have that, super manager. And I think that's why Rodgers as well. They're like, maybe they don't think about it, but at the time, that was quite a coup, I would say, to get Brendan Rodgers to come to Leicester, comparative, because a lot of people thought, you know, now they've made that move and won so many titles at Celtic, he might want a slightly bigger move, but they managed to get him. But yeah, it's just weird how then after that, they haven't really gone down that way. Then Enzo was, I mean, that was an exciting one, wasn't it? But it's just funny because Steve Cooper is neither a name manager nor is he exciting up and comer. He is basically just a cheap option. And you're right, of course it affects our branding because like Locks has made this point quite a few times, which is that Steve Cooper has like moaned about the fact that like, oh, if PSR had been solved earlier, we could get better players. But Locks always says to me, if PSR had been solved earlier, we could get a better manager. So, you know, touche there a little bit. But it is definitely...
The thing is about the PSR, I mean, I don't know that I'm just an old cynic, but I think, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, Cooper was the only one that would have took the job. I'm doubting that. And there's a reason why I'm doubting that, because I think the guy that took the job to get us off, that would have been in place a long time ago. And he would have explained his case very convincingly to the board. So I don't think the board would have took on interviews saying, look, we're probably going to get done quite a few points here. I don't think that's the case. And I think anybody with an ounce of inside knowledge as a manager, they probably would have known this guy as well and known his track record of exposing loopholes. I don't buy into this. And I think a lot of City fans have just heard somebody say that and they've gone with that narrative.
Yeah,
I truly believe
because they would have had an idea.
Yeah.
The board would have had an idea that they were going to get
a long time ago as well. Way before the season started.
Yeah, I agree. One thing, though, is not only with Cooper, yes, he was probably the cheapest option. However, he was, as has been reported, he probably was the most keen, because I'm not going to make him sound desperate or anything like that, but, you know, a certain caliber of manager, and I'm not saying Graham Potter is amazing. I'm not trying to say he's the top caliber of manager, but I'd say that his pedigree or his reputation is better than Steve Cooper's. And he probably did ask more questions. I mean, one of the rumors, again, there's so much rumors. Oh, he turned it down. It's because of PSR. One of the big rumors I heard was that he wanted a different structure in place above him. So whether it was to bring another guy in to either work alongside or replace Rodkin, the better managers probably did ask more questions. Whereas Steve Cooper was probably just happy to be given the chance and happy to take over and probably did seem like a little bit, not desperate, but, you know, that's a bit unfair to say. But I just feel like the others would have asked more questions and made it a bit more of a difficult interview process, because with Steve Cooper, it's kind of like he was the one, you know, it's like, please, 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 you know, appoint me. Whereas the others, Potter or I don't know who else was actually interviewed, but they might have been more, you need to sell it to me. You need to sell the job to me, not the other way around. So maybe that played a part in it, Clibbo. I want to ask you this, though, Clibbo. Again, because the next guest, by the way, which I'm really looking forward to speaking to, because I've never spoken to before, Charles. I always hear him on his shows, like with Luke as well last night, talking about managers, and he's got some differing opinions to a lot of Leicester fans on the managers that are out there. So I look forward to hearing him. But who would you want, Clibbo? Who would you want in charge if Steve Cooper was sacked tomorrow?
Well, it's difficult because we're going to get to a stage very soon where we need a short-term fix. If you're talking about a short-term fix, then I would have Moyes. And I only say that because I think the ship needs steadying. And when we're getting close to that, I think as long-term, it is really difficult because you've got to have somebody who's got clout in the transfer market. Somebody who can work a little bit more on a budget, and I'm hearing myself saying that, and it's got to be his name's gone out of my head. Ex-Brighton,
Potter.
Ex-Brighton, yeah, Potter. And I know people have said, "Oh, he's turned us down. He's turned us down." It's all about timing. It's about timing for the club and time for the manager. When do those two stars align? And it might be the case that now is would have been the better time to do it than at the beginning of the season. Who knows? But I think if you're looking at it in those respects, very soon we're going to need to have a firefighter. And I don't really want that. But unfortunately, the way I can only see it going one way. And I think we can all only see him getting the sack and getting a payoff. And then we're left in the crap again. I hope that answers the question.
Well, mate, that answers my question very well. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Clibbo. Thanks for clicking in, mate. I do appreciate it. Stick around because I think you'll be interested to hear Charles's views as well. Lovely
3-0
Cheers,
Chelsea,
Clibbo,
by the way. All right, mate.
End it on that nice one, mate. Right, lovely stuff. Cheers, Clibbo, mate. Thank you so much. Right. Anil, have you spoken to Charles before?
No, I haven't. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's get him in. Hello,
Here
Charles.
we go.
How are you?
Here we go. I'm good, mate. How are you guys?
Good. I'm gonna need my blue tinted glasses. Charles, first of all, I saw you shaking your head there with Clibbo again. What is your beef with Graham Potter?
Well, let me just start first by that last comment about kids wearing Manchester City shirts. If my son wore a Man City shirt, I'd lock him in the cupboard and throw away the key. I tell you now.
Yeah,
that's bad. That's bad parenting.
It wasn't my child, so I couldn't quite.
No, I know. That's bad parenting. You're always generational down now.
Yeah.
So what was the question? Oh, about manager.
What is wrong with Graham Potter? Why are you so turned off by Graham Potter?
Because it's a numerous things. Graham Potter's been out of a job for 2 years. There's rumors flying around about this guy. He's still getting paid a ton of money by Chelsea. That's what he's getting paid. Apparently, still on that.
I think it's just finished, by the way. I think it's just
finished. Just finished. So there was rumors about him being in going for the England job. Did he go? Well, he didn't bloody get it, And I don't like us groveling for these managers. I mean, Graham Potter, okay, he did wonders. Where was he, Norway or whatever he came from, and then did at Brighton. But a lot of this, is who does the work? Is it the manager or is it backup people, all the coaches and all the things? Some of these managers get the credit, but it's a lot of the backroom team have a lot of input into buying players, getting players ready. And, so I don't know what his role was. I think we have better options. Graham Potter would be an absolute fortune because of his ego. And I don't think he'll do it. And I don't think he'll take us. I think, it's all rumor. I think we have been talking to him, but, pre-season with that points deduction rumor, and we got away with that. Maybe that put him off. But he's looking bigger teams. He's looking at big six, top six. That's what he wants. He wants money to spend, and he wants the money. We have no money to spend. We really don't. And he's fighting relegation. Fighting relegation or going down will not look good on his resume. So if you saw the thing with Luke yesterday when we were on the Luke's podcast, where I landed with a manager, and I thought it was a good call overall. I don't want all the others.
Will Still.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Out of all of them, out of who would come and who we can get reasonably, I think it'd be a good gamble. It's a gamble. It definitely is. But he does play good football, and I think he would get the best out of the players we have.
Well,
anybody else? Moyes? No. You need somebody. You need somebody who's willing to take the gamble that we could get relegated and stick with us, right? And be able to bring us up. Because the repercussions of us going down are catastrophic. From top leaving, maybe 100 million loss, EFL screwing with us, and seeking vengeance, and we could have transfer embargoes by then. We could have everything. It's going to be bad. And
as far as I'm aware, Charles, the transfer embargo is still in place from last season. The EFL transfer embargo. Luckily, though, Charles, we do have a tactical genius next to you over there, Anil. And if anybody in the chat is wondering, Anil, what could Will Still do for us? What type of football would he bring to the King Power?
Well, look at what he did to us in there. Firstly, great to have you on the show, Charles. But I agree. I think he'd be a top pick, I've got to say, Will Still. I think he's very exciting. It'd be interesting to see, maybe a question for you and maybe for chat is like how high we think his ceiling is. Because he's kind of similar to the one that Brighton have signed in Fabian Herzler. And he's another one that was an interesting pickup by him. And it was like, he does seem good, but like, Would he be good enough really to manage Bayern Munich or something like that in the Bundesliga? But he's doing great for Brighton so far. I think Will Still, what I like about him is because he's young and he's English, he is the sort of manager that could be in place for like 5 seasons, longer even, which I think is actually perfect for a club like Leicester. You want like a project to develop lots of young players, because realistically, I think if Leicester were to do something great again, like win a serious trophy or make a push for top 4, which seems absurd to even talk about now, but it wasn't that long ago that we were doing that, the only way to do it is you basically have to buy a young team, keep them together for a few years, develop them, sell 1 or 2 along the way, and then hope that you get the timing right and they all peak around the same time and you have like a one-off super duper season. And I think you're best off achieving that with a young up and coming manager that's going to make a few mistakes along the way, but it's got the right principles. And I think that's what he does. But yeah, Will Still, they play really good playing out from the back. They do overloads. They attack with 5, pressing in the right places, possession, but not just for the sake of it. It's good style. If you look at how he's doing in France at the moment, he's sort of, I think, in the top 3rd, but not quite pushing up for Champions League. But let's see what he can do. He's in charge of Lens. That is one thing I do wonder, though. Do you think we could get him off there? Because he only went there in the summer.
I think we could. Also, another thing, he's cheap. I think he'd be cheap. You mentioned
Will he?
Mourinho.
Will he?
We can't afford Mourinho. Just jokingly, anyway. I don't know. I mean,
we might be able to afford him to sign him, just not sack him if it goes wrong.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, see, that's what I said yesterday about with Steve Cooper. It's going to cost us 4 or 5 million to get rid of him, probably. Well, say 3 or 4 million, and then we've got to get the guy out of Will Still out of Lens. But I don't think that's much. I mean, didn't Man United just pay Real Sociedad like 10 million or even that? But that guy is really, really good. The guy. He's just won 8 straight games or something. He just, that's so maybe 2 or 3 million to get him out. It's worth a gamble, maybe, because as I said, I was with Cooper. I'm in and out. I have been all season. I don't like, kicking a person really, but his decision making is atrocious. And I give him the benefit of the doubt. But that Man United game was absolutely atrocious. I just don't understand anything he's doing. And the substitutions and even just the way he's playing it's mind-boggling. And he's not the same manager as he was at Forest. He really isn't. And I don't know what it is. He's probably losing the dressing room.
I think he is. He just because he played a different type of football in the Championship, didn't he? And right. As soon as he got to the Prem, it was kind of like inferiority complex kicked in. I'm not. I'm not going to try any form of attacking. And this is the thing, Charles. In Steve Cooper's first interview as a Leicester City manager, he told that, are you ready for this? These were his words out of his mouth. We're going to bring exciting attacking football to the King Power Stadium.
That's it. That's one of those lies you do at the job interview, right? Whatever you want to hear me say, I'm going to say it. We did have the 6-point reduction, hanging over us. And, he was probably the best one we could get at the time. Going down the list from the top,
No, he's not, Charles. He wasn't. He was. I refuse to believe he was the best available. I refuse to believe it.
The best who would want the job. I'm not saying we didn't interview people. The West Brom guy, he would never come. Honestly,
no, but he was going to come. It was the compensation allegedly. The 6.
And that for a fact. You know that from a fact, or is
no? But you don't know. You don't know for a fact Graham Potter doesn't want it. You know what I mean?
No, I know. But I can't see him. Why would he want to leave when he has a project? I'm talking about West Brom guy. He finished really well last season. He wants to get promoted, and he's doing well this season. He wants a promotion on his CV. To get him out of there and say, look, okay, you're coming into a team which was the best in the Championship. We won the whole thing by a point, but we are facing a 6-point reduction straight out the block. Everybody else in the Premier League has lifted, and you're up against, Ipswich and Southampton, and then Everton and some others. Will you take the job? And he's looking at it and he's going, I don't know. Okay. I mean, maybe it's the thing you said. I need convincing. You've got to convince me to come here rather than Steve Cooper saying I want the job. I just, it's all hearsay of who does what, who got interviewed and whatever. Steve Cooper got the job, or was offered the job, took the job, and that's where we are. We're a bit further down the line now, whereby the points reduction has gone away. But those 9 games coming up, horrific. horrific. So, you know, what do? You bring a young manager, even Will Still, you know, bring him on, and we get 4 points from 8 games. You think the crowd is going to turn, or are we going to be, oh, we'll still, we'll still keep with them. But it's a tough job. It's a tough job. Yeah. But yes, I would take the West Brom manager if he were to get him. But he would be more expensive as well. He'd probably be more than Will Still to get him out of there.
Well, he would have been less expensive than what it's going to cost to sack Steve Cooper.
That's the issue. That's the hidden cost, isn't it? It's not just you're paying to get someone out; you're paying to get rid.
Well, I was going to ask you this, Neil, just for somebody asking Neil because he's more level-headed than me, Charles. Do you, and Neil, do you buy for 1 minute what Charles is saying about Carlos Corberán wouldn't have wanted to come?
No, sorry. I think everyone wants to be a Premier League manager.
Yeah, but he's going to be a Premier League manager next year, probably.
You don't know because he gets pennies. He gets pennies for the transfer budget. He gets nothing from them.
Yeah,
not a penny.
They're doing okay. They have a lot of draws, about 4 or 5 in a row, which put him back. But he's still in the melting pot there.
What could he do?
I don't know.
80 million quid. Steve Cooper was given 80 million pounds this summer. What could
Where did
Carlos
you get that
from?
80 million? I thought it was like 40, 50.
I'm sure it was 80. Was it not 80 in it? I'm sure it was 80.
No, it's like 40 or 50, I think. And then we got the money from KDH. We're about 15 in the hole, I think.
Oh, net. Yeah, net. Yeah. I mean, spend though. Spend is 80. I'm sure it's 80.
Oh,
80 spend.
Yeah, but that is a little bit cherry picking. That's like saying, because you could have sold 90 million worth of players if you signed 80.
But Brendan Rodgers in his last summer, what did he get? He got minus 80. He got 80 profit. That was all. He couldn't even spend anything.
Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers also mucks up finishing in Europe the previous season. So
I agree. I'm not denying that.
So,
I'm not defending Brendan Rodgers in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying. Charles, you're getting some love in the chat for your hair. You know
the story, right? You know the story.
Well, I was going to say you look like the Joker. You look like the Joker now, mate. No, what's the story?
I retired on Friday, and my wife said to me, "Okay, really enjoy yourself. Do whatever you want." And I said, "I'm going to have green hair," and she goes, "No, you're not." I won.
Nice.
No, it's like, I'm going to change it. It's going to be like red, green, blue, and whatever. I think, all the way through. I do get people, in fact, if you looked at I don't know what this one's coming out, but the Luke podcast yesterday, I looked at it. It was luminous green.
Nice.
It's not. It's just a green. Anyway. Oh, by the way, I was born in Newtown, Linford. That's where I'm from.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Markfield, Newtown, Linford, many years ago. First game was 69. Yeah, I'm old. The glory days.
Who was your first manager?
Oh, geez, it was before Franco Farrell. I think it was Franco Farrell, maybe something like that.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
We went through Jock Steen. He was bloody good. He was a Celtic guy. We brought him down. That's still, we were paying a lot of money for the managers back then. And then we got, when we had Weller, Worthington, Shilton. That's the time we had 3 England starters for a few games. Yeah, it was the glory days. We finished 8th in semi-final of the FA Cup. Yeah, I do have a history of where I come from. That's why I got Leicester. Yeah. And I will plug the Dallas Foxes. We're actually, believe it or not, we're in Dallas, Texas. Hence the light outside because it's still early afternoon here. But we're Dallas is all the big 6. Man City, Arsenal, whatever. So we are 18 people, and 6 of us to 8 of us turn up every week, go down the pub and start drinking at 7 a.m. either celebrate or lick our wounds, and it's licking our wounds at the moment, especially after that Man United game.
Yeah, mate. I can imagine you'd need a good few beers after watching that United game. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse this weekend, mate. Trust me. You'll be down in them.
Did you? I know I'm hogging your time. Somebody's waiting, but did you talked about the lineup yet? About what we think it's going to be?
No, to tune in, mate. I know you might not be able to catch live, but if you can, 7 p.m. UK time on Wednesday night, we're going to do a big chat on that. So, it's live. It's live then, but it'll be out. You can watch it whenever. So sometime in the next few days, check that out.
Okay.
All right, cool. Charles. Thank you so much for jumping on, mate. Much appreciated. Try and get on next week.
Good speaking to you guys. I like your channel. It's good. We watch it all the time over here.
Great stuff. Great news. Thank you, mate. Really do appreciate that. Thanks to Charles. Right. ending off the night, it is Daz. Let's get Daz on. Here he is. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, lads. I've been watching the channel for a while. Been jumping on a few with Ant on his channel, so I thought I'd give my call in and give my two penneth. See how we.
Lovely
see how we
stuff.
do.
Lovely stuff, mate. What do you fancy talking about? Is it Chelsea? Is it Enzo? Is it the manager? What do you want to talk about here, mate?
The longer I've been watching it for this up Gray. Sorry, mate. Yeah, for the longer I've been watching this stream, what everyone's been talking about, I've had a bit to bloody say on all of it, quite frankly. I think the main thing for me is I just feel very disconnected as a fan at the minute, and that's hard for me to say. Probably I started properly supporting Leicester City with my great granddad, and I think Martin O'Neill was the manager at the time. So quite a while away, and we were a yo-yo club as we were. That's fine and everything else. But then we won the Premier League, and we the Great Escape and all that sort of stuff, as we all know. And I just feel that, let's be fair, Steve Cooper was never anyone's first appointment. And I don't think it's his fault, quite frankly. I think, you're going to put yourself forward for a job. You should back yourself if you're in football. I think the board just did a terrible job putting a man who clearly doesn't play possession-style football, which is what we were promised when Enzo left. With the amount of compensation we received, there's not a question in my mind that we could have got Carlos Corberán, and he was and still is the manager I want to take over the helm at Leicester City. What he's done at West Brom and Huddersfield, respectively, with no transfer budget whatsoever and backing, I think is phenomenal, quite frankly. But yeah, just had enough, really. Just feel like, I like to give every manager a go. I was Brendan Rodgers in, even probably when I shouldn't have been, because I thought, do you know what? Let's give him some credit. He's got us a couple of top finishes in the top half of the table. Let's, give him a little bit of a backing. But Jesus Christ, this is worse than Rodgers, in my opinion. It's just there's no identity. There's no tippy-tappy football. It's almost like he does this in the dressing room and he just throws a dart at the board, and he's just like, right, you can start. Ooh, we'll play this way today. And that's not a way that you should be playing.
Do you mind if I ask you? I think what you're saying there is something that is echoed throughout the fan base, people feeling disconnected. But I'd like to get a bit deeper on that. So is it just the manager or is it more than that? Because I've got a feeling that it's probably more than that. And if you could, maybe you can't, but put it into words,
sure.
what are the overall things? Because he said, why is it that a few seasons ago you felt like, oh yeah, I love your club, and now you're like, oh, I can't even be bothered? You're not alone in thinking that, but why? Why is it? And actually for the chat as well, what are the reasons why that is the case these days?
My personal feeling, and again, from who I talk to within the family and friends and stuff like that, again, that kind of echoes how I feel. But for me personally, it is not just the manager, it's the board as well. And I feel that when we sacked Brendan Rodgers, it was a relief, but it was too late. You get a firefighter crew in, and again, I'm not taking anything away from Shaky and Dean Smith. They did the best that they could with the tools that they had. But I feel that the rot had already set in at that point, and it was just a waste of time, quite frankly. It doesn't matter who you'd have bloody got in. We were going down because Tielemans didn't want to be there. Madders was on the beach. It was crap, let's be quite frank. But I just feel the board have been disconnected since then. I got really excited when we appointed Enzo Maresca, because the way that they did the publicity and they did the videos and everything else, it felt like, oh, wow, this is something to be really excited about. He's going to build it up from the top to the bottom. Philosophy is going to go all the way through to the training ground. He's probably going to get some of the youngsters in again, like Will Alves and everything, and us fans love that, really, let's be fair. But yeah, I just feel that they've just been completely... This season especially, mate, it's really, really hit me that you just think, I don't think they care anymore as much as they do, as much as they did. Vichai was always always was the one that wanted to, build the squad, get the football team winning things. And obviously, look, Top's lost his family member, his dad. You cannot express how that feels to someone, but it's very clear that the passion isn't the same or doesn't have the same attachment or feeling towards it in my eyes. But yeah, I just, like I say, I feel very disconnected as that at the minute. I feel that the club don't do enough. If the fans can see it, in my eyes, mate, if the fans can see it, the board should bloody see it. But I think the board will go on merit of, oh, well, we're not bottom three, you know. And by that point, let's be quite frank, if that's the case, I'm actually quite happy now. I would have preferred it to have happened, obviously, in this international break. But I don't see Steve Cooper getting anything at all out of these next 4 or 5 games, let alone 9. You know, for me, Steve Cooper needs to go before Christmas, and we need to get somebody in. Yeah, or we are going down again. And if we go down again, lads, we all know it's curtains for me, because the EFL will just chuck the book at you.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't get promoted the first time of asking.
No,
That's a fact.
not a chance,
Maybe the second year, but if you don't, then the parachute payments stop, and you're in big trouble at that point.
Massively, mate. Massively.
Here's a question for both of you. I'll come to you first, Daz. In 2022, the start, so January 2022, there was a poll done on football fans who back their owners, who are happy with their owners.
Yeah.
97.9% of Leicester fans backed King Power.
Yeah.
What do you think that number would be today?
Oh, Jesus wept. There's a lot of happy clappers in the club. Just saying, there's a lot of happy clappers in the club. So I think a lot of people still would go, like I am. I'm of the opinion I love Top. Yeah, I've got to get this out there before I give you my number. I love Top. I think he's great, and I wave at him every time I sit down at a home game. He's a legend. But the board in itself, for me, I think it's got to be 60-50%. It's got to be near enough on the divide, because there's that many people for me that go after Rudkin, Whelan, everybody else. I think
so. This is on the owners. This is on the owners.
Oh, on the owners. Oh, 60-70. I'd say
60 or 70%, yeah.
I'd say.
What about you, Anil? How so again in the start of 2022, 97, basically 98%. What do you think that is today? Because I think the last 2 years would have done some damage to that number.
You would think so, but the thing is I know what people in Leicester are like, and people in Leicester are pretty conservative, and they stick with the same sort of thing. So I honestly think it'd probably still be something like 91%.
Wow.
Because basically there's a lot of credit in the bank.
Hey, the same credit in the bank that got us relegated, Vader.
Listen, I'm not saying that's not my number that I'd give them. But
no,
I'm
I know.
This is Leicester. Well, no, I won't bring politics into it, because we've promised not to do that. But let's just say there are reasons to believe that people will vote for things despite evidence suggesting it's not a good thing. But God, what is the number? What is the number now?
No, I haven't got it. I haven't got the number.
Oh, what?
I haven't got the number.
Yeah.
What I will say is I think a lot of people would say they still back them out of fear of what some people say. There seems to be a real, I don't know, people hold back a little bit on what they say about, there's no holding back on the manager. There's no holding back on Rudkin or Whelan. There is a lot of people that hold back on Top. And I'm not saying that, we can't, of course we have to be grateful to the family and everything they did for Leicester. Again, it's a bit like what we said earlier about the board. I don't think, I think it is possible to be grateful, but also to expect more. And I think the last 2 years we have been let down by the people below Top, but then Top has continued with them in charge at the football club. So go on, Daz.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with everything you've just said there, mate. At the end of the day, for me, Top has these people in place to do a job, and it's a results business at the end of the day. So if we got relegated, you're not just asking questions of the manager, you're asking questions of people who are in line with the manager or who support the manager. Why did you let it get to this step? You've got to stomp it out and nip it off at the bud in enough time to recover from it, and which is what I will give criticism to Top. He needs to pull the trigger on this before it's too late, because as a Leicester fan, look, any football fan doesn't want their club to go down. All right, nobody does. But 3 go up, 3 go down. Unless this year it might be 4, but again, we don't know if Man City are going to happen. But anyway, we shouldn't really rely on other people failures and cheating. Leicester City, we cheated. We're all right. It's fine. I just feel a bit like, you know, we need to sort the bleeding thing out, man. He needs to go. It's evident. Did you see the Harry Winks argument at Man United? He's standing on the sideline arguing with the bloke, and you just see the players. And I know Enzo played a certain way, but my point is, when we had Enzo, every single player knew what their role was, where to stand, what to do in transition, everything. This team, again, it just looks like the strangers playing in a five-a-side or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just trying stuff, and it's just not working. You know, they say we scored in every goal, or scored in every game. Well, I don't know how, quite frankly. I've got to be honest. I don't know how. Fatu's now injured. Ricardo's injured. Vardy's allegedly still injured. You know, who we're going to trust now? Daka's not touched grass since bloody, what was it? The internationals at the start, the pre-season. And Edouard, we've had him on loan, and he's been a bit part person for 2 or 3 minutes when Cooper's bored and ain't got anything else to chuck at it. So,
well, that is that is how it seems. Daz, mate, thank you for clicking in. Give your channel a shout out, mate.
Oh God, there's only like 3 or 4 videos on there. Yeah, so it's at LCFC_Daz. I am trying to do more things. I appreciate you having me on, guys, and hopefully I can return the favour and get you guys on mine, or vice versa. I'm just in the moment of trying to think of things to do that's not negative, which is not easy.
Hey, mate, being negative, mate,
at the moment,
yeah, mate. Negative content's better than no content, mate. No content.
It's true. That is very true.
Yeah. Get it out, mate. You just got to say what you say. This is why we do this, isn't it? We do this because we have things on our mind and we need to speak them, don't we?
We need therapy. That's what we need.
Yes, that is what it is. Sometimes that is what it is. Cheers, Daz, mate. Thank you so much. See you very soon, pal.
Boys.
Cheers. Thank you so much. The last question I want to ask you, Neil, before we end, I keep seeing him in the chat. Imran, good guy, nice guy. He had a little spat last week with Ragsy. He keeps saying the reason we are where we are is because of the squad. Do you agree?
I have to defend Imran a bit because I think it is starting to turn out there more and more like that. I think there's a difference between starting 11 and squad. Because what did Daz just say there? He said if Vardy's injured, if Ricardo's injured, if Fatahu's injured, if Buonanotte is suspended. So if we're going to line up, and we're going to line up with a team with Odson Edouard up front and Bobby Reed starting, I mean, he's got a point, is he not?
Yeah, absolutely. The odd fish, who I think is... Go on, Anel. Carry on, mate. Go on.
No, I was going to say, look, I think the thing is you could still say, is that squad better than other teams? It's still probably better than Ipswich and Southampton's. But I think, to be fair, the problem is it better than Palace, Wolves, West Ham, Everton's? I thought our squad was better than Everton's, but when they played against us, I hate to say, surprised by them in a positive way that they actually were a lot better than I remembered.
Yeah. You know what? That is the next blue tinted debate show sorted. It is going to be with Imran. So Imran, I will be in touch. If you can follow me on Twitter, that'd be much appreciated. At blue tinted glasses LCFC. If you could please follow me on Twitter. No, it's not. It's blue tinted LCFC. If you can follow me on Twitter, mate, then we can have a chat and we'll arrange something. Charles from Dallas, who was obviously just on, he says, start selling those blue tinted glasses. Everybody, leave a comment if you would like to buy some
with Cooper out on each side of them or something. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Anil, mate. Thanks for joining us. Another great call-in show. Who is caller of the day today?
It is the man with green hair. It's got to be, isn't he? The Will Still believer. It's got to be Charles from Dallas.
I'm gonna go with the same. Yeah, I'm gonna go the same because I've not seen him in the call-in before, and I was watching the stream last night with Luke, and he said some things, and I was like, you know what, I want to speak to him and call him out on this. And obviously, I just had a chance to ask him about some of his manager choices. So thanks for coming in, Charles, mate. It is much appreciated. And your good friend Craig as well, who is normally on. He wasn't here this week. Hopefully, he'll be on next week. Final comment of the night: Tripe and onions, evening all. Sorry for being late. The white stuff The snow. Okay, I was thinking then the snow's going to go down.
Could be either. Could be either.
Yeah, I wanted to. No, the white stuff would speed him up, wouldn't it? I think. Head and Shoulders is in order. Right. Thanks for jumping in. You are late, mate. You are late. But don't worry. Rewind by an hour and 24 minutes, and you'll catch the whole thing again. Thank you to everyone. Much appreciated. Make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe. And remember, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, we have Fox's Den. And it's all about what will keep Leicester City up this season. Cheers all. Bye-bye. See you soon.